I lecture up in IT Sligo, but I'm also a PhD student in Queen's, and this is where all this information comes from. It's actually extracted from some of the research that we've already carried out. Obviously, the research is ongoing. So, for the main research, I'm looking at whole life costs in BIM, lean construction, and how they all fit together. So for this, I'm just looking at how BIM and lean construction fit together. So just a bit of an overview. So a bit of a background to it. Then we'll look at the research methodology, the results and analysis, all the advantages that were identified, disadvantages identified. So then we'll break it down into three groups: economic, sustainability, and corporate. And as we go through, it'll become clear why I posed the question, will lean construction be subsumed by BIM? So then I'll talk about the conclusions and the recommendations. So my actual research title for the PhD is Early Implementation of BIM in Architectural Firms to Promote Whole Life Cost and Lean Construction, but again, it's all under the umbrella of sustainability. So this paper is based on the research that I've carried out so far. Obviously, the conclusions and recommendations that I have today could change in 6 months' time when the research comes to a head. So 3 tiers of research carried out: in-depth literature review, a couple of semi-structured interviews, and a large focus group. So the results then were taken and put into a bit of software called Decision Explorer. This will form cognitive maps. So then we carried out domain analysis and central analysis. And this was one of the main maps that were formed. It's probably very difficult for you to see there. But this is why I ended up splitting it between economic, sustainability and corporate advantages, because this is the way we kind of got the main clusters. So, domain analysis shows concepts which may have several links. Central analysis shows the concepts which have the greatest effect. So it takes in account those with the nearest links, plus then ones that are probably more extraneous but still have links towards the central. So for this paper I only used the top 5 results, because if I used all the results it'd be a lot longer than just a 10-minute, 15-minute presentation. We'll be here to Christmas. So domain analysis. So this form of analysis highlights all the concepts that the interviewees and the focus group found interesting, and the things that they discussed in much more detail. So of the 23 concepts ranked in the top 5 within domain analysis, interestingly, only one was a disadvantage. So already we can start to see of the 23, but only one a disadvantage identified. So we can start to see more advantages were identified. So benefits far outweigh disadvantages. So within the central analysis, this identifies and orders each concept according to its effect or impact on the mapped model. So again, the effect of advantages is greater than disadvantages. So one disadvantage, it was ranked 16th in interview A. It was then ranked 25th and 24th in interview B and in the focus group. So we can still see advantages are still way down the scale. So within central analysis, sustainability ranked higher than project cost savings for all 3 groups. So did improved corporate image and the promotion of green credentials, which I kind of found interesting, because if they could make further cost savings, why aren't they? Are they forsaking those potential cost savings to improve sustainability or to improve their corporate image? So there was also higher concepts such as less materials wasted, sustainable design, collaboration between stakeholders, and client satisfaction. Sorry, this is going to be very difficult for you to see, but this is most of the advantages identified just through the interviews and the focus groups. And as you can see, only one mentioned lean construction. Whereas these are all the disadvantages identified. So you can start to see advantages outweigh disadvantages by about 3 to 1. So, economic advantages. So the economic and cross-control advantages of using BIM reach out across the life cycle of a building. I know some of this will be teaching some of you to suck eggs. So in the design phase, BIM can enable the correct choice of design. During the construction process, there are many areas where economic savings and advantages exist. So things like material management, correct plant, increased trades productivity, reductions in project time, early clash in scheduling detections. So these were some of the things that were talked about in the interviews and where advantages lay. So in the construction phase, it aids in lean construction. So we're looking at waste reduction, off-site fabrication, just-in-time deliveries, improved scheduling, etc. So handover data then allows contractors to provide a digital owner's manual. So it helps in asset management, facilities management, and maintenance management. So BIM is growing, as we know, it has grown at quite a rate over the past number of years. So again, there's a lot of, some of the things that were coming out, it was actually sustainable design was driving it, waste reduction, cost reduction, improved project delivery. But they want all this with a minimal environmental impact. So it can be a vital design tool for sustainability as we can compare design options and their impact on green building performance. So we can look at more energy efficient buildings, more sustainable designs, include things like passive design house concepts where you take into account the massing and the orientation of the building. So when used within lean construction, it shows that sustainable development is achievable. So advantages to utilising BIM feed back to a corporate level. So economic advantages such as reduced project costs, lean construction, sustainable construction, better working practices, etc. all benefit the organisation. So these were all included under corporate advantages. So it makes for a more efficient practice because operations become more collaborative, open and transparent. So it leads to a better customer service, increased client satisfaction, which the organisation can use in its market and promotion. Now this was the big question for me, because as we went through the interviews and even in subsequent research, this was a thing that was coming across. As people were talking about BIM, and you were talking to them about lean construction, and some had heard of it. One company were actively using lean construction, and you were saying, well, what about waste reduction? Oh yeah, of course we try and reduce waste. What about better supply chain management? You know, looking at modular construction or just-in-time deliveries, things like. Well, we do try and do that. Well, that's lean construction. Yeah, but we do that through BIM. You know? So, to me, when we use BIM fully, and we get more into 4D BIM and 5D BIM, is lean construction going to fall by the wayside for the construction industry? Because early indications for me are that people are saying, yeah, we do this, we use BIM for all these reasons. But you say, well, what about lean construction? No, we don't use lean construction. Well, why not? Because we don't know anything about it. But you're doing all these things anyway. So, most involved admitted their knowledge of the lean construction process. Only one stated that they use lean construction practices. Those questions could admit they carried out a form of lean construction, albeit accidentally. So BIM Ireland a number of years ago said they adopted BIM as a lean process. They talked about its advantages, sustainability and sustainable design, and improving the project delivery process. But even they didn't say they were using lean construction. So, a number of years ago, big survey carried out, and lean construction wasn't included in the most popular tasks for which BIM is used in the USA. Another one, an earlier one, 2007, lean construction actually ranked lowest of the factors for using BIM. There is little research, there are one or two other papers, but very little looking at lean and BIM as a collective process. So obviously BIM, as we know, it just isn't a bit of software, but intrinsically it's a process. So it can be described as a whole life cycle management of a project. So it's a vital sustainability tool. Obviously makes previously laborious and ambiguous process quicker, increases accuracy in design and reporting. So shown to reduce cost, time and certainty of design, improve quality, etc. So also can be a valuable asset to the building owners for facilities management, looking at the operation, maintenance, programming maintenance, managing the assets. So it provides a foundation for many of the outcomes that lean is expected to deliver. So when it used with BIM, when used in conjunction with lean, shows sustainable development is achievable, and as an integrated methodology can add in the value engineering of a project and lead to the increase in value of money for the client. And this is kind of a hypothesis that eventually BIM may subsume lean construction. So, needs to be better promotion of BIM being used in conjunction with lean construction and the advantages it can bring. So have a look at its use of materials management, whole life cycle costings, those kind of things. So it can help address the problems associated with the implementation and the use of lean construction and sustainability, mainly because they purport to do almost identical things. So it can also aid in the advancement of lean construction, and lean construction can aid in the advancement of BIM. So further research then on the two of them being used in conjunction. That's it. Thank you very much for listening. Cut that one out.